So the goal of a PhD program is, of course, to train you how to make original contributions to knowledge. And I already said before that in doing so, you'll become an expert in a specific area of psychology. And in our program, there is an emphasis on experimental methods. So with that in mind, let's talk for a little bit about what it takes to craft a strong or successful application to graduate school. But first, some brass tacks, as they say. What does an application look like? Well, at Tufts, for our program, the application has a number of required elements. There is an application fee, although not for folks who are attending our open house. You will also be expected to submit a research statement, a resume or a CV, your undergraduate transcripts and any graduate transcripts if that's applicable to you. The graduate school also asks that you submit 3 letters of recommendation, and you have the opportunity to submit some additional materials as well as you wish. One of the optional additional materials are GRE scores. So the graduate record examination is not required to apply to our program. If you've taken the GRE and you'd like to share your scores, that is an option for you to do, but we do not require that you take the GRE and submit scores. Okay, so those are the specific elements of an application, and you might be wondering, how do we actually review all the information that comes through in an application? So broadly speaking, we take a holistic approach to reviewing applications. We're really looking for students who will thrive in our program and as a member of their advisor's research lab. So that's really what we're looking for, is students who are ready to embark on a graduate school experience, who are ready to learn how to make original contributions to knowledge, and who are a good fit with at least one person on our faculty who would take on the role of primary advisor. So how do we make this judgment? Well, I'll say that of those many elements in the list that I showed you before, the research statement is really the most important source of information. This is the aspect of the application where you're able to demonstrate why you're interested in Tufts, and at other places why you're interested in that other place. This is where you're able to explain why you're interested in working with a particular faculty member or particular faculty members at the institution to which you're applying. So of course, if you're applying to Tufts, we would be looking for you to name specific individuals whose research interests overlap substantially with your own research interests, and for whom they're doing research that you are well prepared to undertake yourself if you were to join their lab. So as you're writing for your personal statement, research statement, it's called different things at different places, whatever it's called, I'd like to encourage you to look for ways to demonstrate the qualities that people evaluating your application will be looking for. And also make sure that you're sharing specific examples so that your reader can see what that looked like for you in action. So what I'm showing on the slide are a number of sought after qualities that you might think about ways of demonstrating that you have those qualities in your own research statement. So things like scientific curiosity, critical thinking, good interpersonal skills. These are all attributes that prospective advisors will view as important parts of being able to pursue a graduate PhD in their labs. So again, I would encourage you, as you're writing your personal statement, your research statement, to share specific examples of things that you have done or experienced that demonstrate some or all of these sought after qualities. Part of knowing how to write a strong statement also requires just really good knowledge of the prospective advisor and the program. So I would encourage you to think carefully about the program and the people who would be training you to figure out whether they would be the right fit for your goals and interests. Not every place and every program will be the right fit for you. You have desires, you have a place you want to go, there are things that you want to learn, and not all programs and not all faculty advisors can give you that. So make sure you know the programs well so that you can figure out, is there somebody here who would be a good primary advisor for me? Is there somebody here who's doing research that I just want to jump in and start contributing to immediately because I can see a path that uses that way of learning how to make original contributions to knowledge in my future career. And so once you've decided that you know enough about the prospective advisor and the program, and you've thought carefully about how the program and the people who'd be training you are the right fit for your goals and interests, write a statement that demonstrates that fit. And part of that will, of course, have to do with demonstrating the sought after qualities, which I already mentioned on the previous slide. So in your research statement, there are several things that you can do. First of all, make sure that you're highlighting relevant prior experiences. And prior experiences that are relevant will depend quite a bit, I guess, on the prospective faculty advisor and the program that you're applying for. But the kinds of things that students frequently highlight in their research statements, which I think works really well, are things like coursework, research experience, papers that they have read, papers that they have written, training that they might have received, blogs they might have written. There's lots of things that you can allude to that would count as relevant prior experience. And each of these things can be used as specific examples of how that activity has developed your sought after qualities. It's important, I think, in a research statement to really make it clear your writing skills. And if you've got some experience on other things that might be perceived as valuable by a prospective advisor and in a particular program, you might highlight those too. Things like coding, knowledge of statistics, experience giving oral presentations, even community outreach. All of these things would be actions that you might have taken, experiences that you might have had that would be able to demonstrate that you've developed many of the sought after qualities that programs and advisors will be looking for. Importantly, make sure that you link your interests to those of the faculty that you highlight in your statement. And I would encourage you to be as specific as you can where possible. And one of the ways that you can get as specific as possible with the ideas, the ways you link your interests with those of a prospective faculty advisor is to read some of the articles, or at least one of the articles, published by prospective advisors to whom you're interested in applying to work with. By reading their articles, you'll get a sense, especially if you focus on the most recent ones, you'll get a sense maybe of where they're at in their research program, what is the research they're really interested in and focused on at the moment. And it might also spark your ideas about ways that would be interesting to you and maybe interesting to the advisor as well to extend that research in important ways, ways that you might be able to carry forward as a graduate student in their lab. For sure, make sure that you use the statement as an opportunity to demonstrate, concrete skills. And here I mean concrete in the sense that it's really clear exactly what you did. Try not to be vague, try to be very specific about the things that you have done and the skills that you have developed and how you've developed those skills or honed those skills in ways that link up with what the research is that the advisor is doing in the lab that you want to join. And finally, my last piece of advice, and this really is about writing the research statement in particular, though certainly you can share other aspects of your application, but I would suggest for sure, talk to other people, ask them to read your statement, get feedback. They'll be able to give you their impressions about the ways in which you're conveying the ideas, the organization that you're using, the narrative and how well it flows throughout the entire statement, and whether it conveys exactly what you intend to convey about the experiences that you've had and your readiness and skills and fit for graduate training in the institution to which you're applying. So for sure, get feedback. Ideally, that feedback will be from at least one faculty member. If you have access to somebody that you would feel comfortable asking for that kind of feedback from, I think that would be great. However, you can also ask for feedback from people who are your peers or people who have no idea about applying to graduate programs in psychology. Anybody can give you feedback about the writing and whether it's conveying the ideas clearly and concisely. All right, That's it. We've reached the end. So in this video, I described the Tufts Psychology Ph.D. program, both in terms of our valuing of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how to structure our program. And how the structure of our program trains graduate students to make original contributions to knowledge. I also talked about what it's like to be in graduate school and the need to balance multiple competing priorities, how you can rely on your advisor and members of your lab and other mentors to help you with that, but also the idea that it's important to be proactive and to develop autonomy. And finally, I ended with some specific information about applying to our program at Tufts and also general information about applying to psychology PhD programs. I really hope that this has been helpful, and I wish you the best of luck. If you have any questions, you can certainly feel free to contact me by email. And again, I wish you the best of luck in the process of applying to graduate school. Thank you.